Have you ever woken up and the first thing that enters your mind is someone's face? Then you go through your entire day, working, eating, talking to others, but underneath it all, they're still there. Like background music that never stops playing, like a presence you can't shake off no matter how hard you try. You're in a meeting and suddenly you wonder what they're doing right now. You're cooking dinner and you remember something they said. You're scrolling through your phone and you almost text them 100 times. And at night when you finally lie down, they're still there. The last thought before sleep, the first thought when you wake. It feels overwhelming, sometimes beautiful, sometimes painful, sometimes confusing. You ask yourself, why can't I stop thinking about this person? What's happening to me? Am I losing my mind? Am I obsessed? Is this normal? Let me tell you something that will change everything. When someone stays in your mind all day, it's not random. It's not meaningless, and it's definitely not just in your head. There are 3 specific things happening beneath the surface, 3 powerful truths that explain why this person has taken up permanent residence in your thoughts. And once you understand these 3 things, everything will make sense. The confusion will clear. The question marks will turn into answers. So let's dive deep into what's really going on. Thing number 1. Your subconscious is processing unresolved emotions. The first thing happening when someone stays in your mind all day is that your subconscious is working overtime to process unresolved emotions about them. Your conscious mind might be busy with daily tasks, but your subconscious never stops. It's like a computer running programs in the background that you can't see but that are constantly active. When you experience strong emotions with someone, love, hurt, excitement, fear, betrayal, joy, your brain doesn't just forget them when the moment passes. These emotions get stored deep in your subconscious. And if they were never fully felt, never fully expressed, never fully resolved, they stay active, they stay alive, they demand attention. That's why this person keeps appearing in your thoughts. Your subconscious is bringing them up again and again, trying to get you to finally deal with what you've been avoiding. Maybe you loved them but never told them. Maybe they hurt you and you never confronted it. Maybe you had to let them go before you were ready. Maybe you're with them but terrified of losing them. Whatever the emotion is, it's unfinished. And your mind will not let it rest until you face it. The persistent thoughts are not torture. They're invitations. Your subconscious is saying, we need to talk about this. We need to feel this. We need to resolve this. Think about it like this. Imagine you're reading a book and someone rips out the last chapter. You can try to move on to another book, but part of your mind will always circle back, wondering how that story ended. That's what unresolved emotions do. They create unfinished stories in your psyche, and your thoughts keep returning to that person because your soul is still waiting for the ending. So if someone is in your mind all day, ask yourself honestly, what did I never say to them? What did I never allow myself to feel? What happened between us that I never processed? The answer to these questions is the key to understanding why they won't leave your thoughts. Thing number 2, you are energetically connected. The second thing happening is something most people don't realize. You and this person are energetically connected, and that connection is still active, still alive, still pulling you toward each other, even if you're not physically together. Let me explain. Everything in the universe is energy. Science has proven this. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your very presence is energy. And when 2 people share deep experiences, especially emotionally charged ones, they create an energetic bond, an invisible thread that links their souls. This is not mystical nonsense. This is quantum physics meeting human experience. When you connect deeply with someone, your energy fields interact, overlap, and become entangled. And once that entanglement happens, physical distance doesn't break it. Time doesn't erase it. Even silence doesn't disconnect it. That's why you think about them constantly. Your energy is still connected to theirs. And on a subconscious level, you're picking up on their energy even when you're not together. Have you ever thought about someone intensely and then they texted you out of nowhere? Have you ever felt someone's presence before they walked into the room? Have you ever known something was wrong with someone you love without them telling you? This is energetic connection. And when someone stays in your mind all day, it's often because your energy is tuned into their frequency. You're not just thinking about them, you're feeling them, you're sensing them. Your soul recognizes their soul even across distances. And here's what most people miss. This connection is not one-sided. If you're thinking about them constantly, there's a very high probability they're thinking about you too. Energy flows both ways. When two souls are connected, they pull on each other. Sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, but always powerfully. So when you can't get someone out of your head, understand that you're not imagining things, you're not being irrational. You're experiencing a real energetic phenomenon. The connection between you exists beyond the physical world. And until that energy is either resolved, released, or transformed, they will continue to occupy your mental and emotional space. Thing number 3, they represent something you deeply need. The third thing happening, and this one is profound, is that this person represents something you deeply need right now. They have become a symbol in your subconscious of what your soul is craving. Here's what I mean. Sometimes we think about people not because we necessarily need them specifically, but because they represent a feeling, a quality, or an experience we're missing in our current life. Your mind uses their image as a placeholder for a deeper need. Let me give you examples. If you constantly think about someone who made you feel safe, it might mean your current life feels unstable and your soul is crying out for security. If you think about someone who gave you adventure and excitement, it might mean your life has become too routine and you're craving newness. If you think about someone who understood you completely, it might mean you feel unseen in your current relationships and you're desperate to be known. If you think about someone who hurt you, it might mean you're still carrying pain that needs healing and your mind is trying to process that wound. If you think about someone who challenged you to grow, it might mean you've become too comfortable and your soul is calling you toward transformation. Do you see the pattern? The person in your mind is a mirror. They're reflecting back to you what's missing, what's calling, what's waiting to be addressed in your own life. And your subconscious keeps bringing them up, not because you need to be with them, but because you need what they represented. This is why some people stay in our thoughts even years after the connection has ended, even when logic tells us we should have moved on, even when we know the relationship wasn't healthy or wouldn't have worked. Because they awakened something in us. They showed us a version of ourselves we didn't know existed. They gave us a taste of an experience we didn't know we could have. And now, even in their absence, they continue to teach us. They continue to point us toward our own growth, our own needs, our own transformation. So if someone is in your mind all day, don't just ask why them. Ask, what are they showing me about myself? What need are they highlighting? What part of me is calling for attention? The intersection of all three. Now here's where it gets really interesting. These three things don't happen separately. They happen together. They overlap. They feed into each other. And that's why the person stays so powerfully present in your mind. You have unresolved emotions, which creates energetic connection, which makes them a symbol of what you need. Or you have an energetic bond, which triggers unresolved emotions, which turns them into a representation of your deeper longings. The three things work together, creating a perfect storm of persistent thoughts that feel impossible to escape. And this is actually beautiful when you understand it, because it means your mind is not betraying you. Your heart is not weak. You're not broken or obsessed or crazy. You're simply human. You're experiencing the natural result of deep connection, unprocessed emotion, and soul-level need, all coming together at once. What this means for you. So now that you know the three things happening, what do you do with this information? How do you move forward? How do you find peace? First, acknowledge the truth. Stop denying what you feel. Stop telling yourself it doesn't matter. Stop trying to force yourself to forget. The thoughts persist because there's truth in them. Honor that truth even if it's uncomfortable. Second, do the inner work. Sit with those unresolved emotions. Journal about them. Cry if you need to. Scream if you need to. Talk to someone you trust. See a therapist. Whatever it takes to finally process what you've been carrying. Third, understand the energetic connection. You can't just cut cords by wishing them away, but you can transform the energy. You can send love and release. You can set energetic boundaries. You can practice meditation and visualization to acknowledge the connection while also reclaiming your own energy. Fourth, decode the symbolism. What does this person represent that you need to cultivate in your own life? If they represented adventure, go create adventure. If they represented deep understanding, work on understanding yourself. If they represented healing, begin your healing journey. Take the lesson and apply it to your life instead of just longing for the person. Fifth, be patient with yourself. These thoughts won't disappear overnight. Some days will be harder than others. Some triggers will bring them back stronger. That's okay. Healing is not linear. Growth takes time. Be gentle with yourself through the process. Sixth, redirect your focus. Fill your life with purpose. Invest in relationships that are present and reciprocal. Create new experiences. Build new memories. The more you engage with life actively, the less space these persistent thoughts will occupy. When the thoughts are a message to take action. Sometimes these three things happening, unresolved emotions, energetic connection, and deep need, are actually a message that you need to take action. Not always, but sometimes. Maybe you need to reach out and have that conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe you need to express feelings you've kept hidden. Maybe you need to seek closure. Maybe you need to apologize. Maybe you need to forgive. Maybe you need to take a risk and tell them how you feel. Or maybe the action is internal. Maybe you need to finally let go. Maybe you need to accept that it's over. Maybe you need to stop waiting for them and start living for yourself. Only you know what action is needed. But if the thoughts persist, despite all your efforts to process and heal, consider that your soul might be pushing you towards something you're afraid to do. Listen to that inner voice. It knows the truth even when your mind is scared, when the thoughts are teaching you to let go. On the other hand, sometimes the lesson in all of this is learning to let go. Not because the person wasn't important, not because the connection wasn't real, but because holding on is preventing you from moving forward. When someone stays in your mind all day, it can become a prison. You're living in the past or in a fantasy instead of being present in your actual life. You're giving your power away to someone who might not even be thinking about you. You're missing opportunities right in front of you because you're obsessed with someone who's not there. If this is your situation, the three things happening are teaching you about attachment, about surrender, about trusting life's timing. They're teaching you that some people are meant to change us, not stay with us. Some connections are meant to awaken us, not complete us. Letting go doesn't mean they didn't matter. It means you're choosing yourself. You're choosing your peace. You're choosing to honor what was while also embracing what is and what can be. The spiritual perspective. From a spiritual viewpoint, when someone stays in your mind all day because of these three things, it's often a sign of a soul contract. This person came into your life to teach you something essential. And until you learn the lesson, until you integrate the wisdom, until you transform through the experience, they will remain present in your consciousness. Some spiritual teachers say that these persistent thoughts are actually your soul's way of keeping you connected to an important teacher. The discomfort you feel is the friction of growth. The longing you experience is your soul reaching for evolution. Once the lesson is learned, once the transformation happens, the thoughts naturally begin to fade. Not because you forget the person, but because you've integrated what they came to teach you. The connection evolves into gratitude, wisdom, and peace rather than obsession, longing, or pain. The ultimate truth. Here's the ultimate truth about why someone stays in your mind all day. It's because they mattered. They still matter. They touch something so deep in you that your soul cannot simply move on without fully processing the experience. The three things happening, unresolved emotions, energetic connection, and symbolic representation of your needs, are not problems. They're invitations. Invitations to go deeper, to understand yourself better, to heal what's wounded, to claim what you need, to grow into who you're meant to become. That person in your mind is not your enemy. They're not there to torture you. They're there as a teacher, a mirror, a catalyst, and once you understand what they're teaching, once you see what they're reflecting, once you embrace the change they're catalyzing, everything shifts. The thoughts might not disappear completely, but they transform. From obsession to understanding, from pain to wisdom, from longing to gratitude. And that transformation is worth every uncomfortable moment of the journey. So the next time you notice that person in your mind again, don't fight it. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel weak or broken. Instead, recognize what's happening. Your subconscious is processing something unfinished. Your energy is still connected to theirs, and they represent something your soul deeply needs. Ask yourself the questions. What needs to be resolved? What is this connection teaching me? What do I truly need right now? And then take the steps, whether internal or external, to move toward healing, growth, and peace. Because you deserve to be free. Free from obsessive thoughts, free from unresolved pain, free to live fully in the present moment. And the path to that freedom runs directly through understanding these three things that are happening when someone stays in your mind all day. Welcome to Psychology Fact. If this video opened your eyes to something you've been struggling to understand, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Because every day, we're diving into the mysteries of the human mind and heart, helping you understand yourself better and live with more clarity, peace, and purpose.